I had possession over Judgment Day. I had possession over Judgment Day. Woman I've been loving, Lord, wouldn't get the right to pray.
So here is what we will need to make our diddley bow. We have our piece of dowel that's 24 inches in length. We have our box that will be the body. We have an awl and some drill bits. That's a 1 inch, a 1/4 inch drill bit, and a rasp. A box of bits and bobs. This is all the little hardware, screws, pickup, all the other stuff. A bigger rasp, which we'll use for cleaning up some things. A couple of screwdrivers, measuring tape, screw gun. These are some socket wrenches. Those will be for putting on the machine head. A rivet gun, that's for making the string holder, which we'll show you. And a clamp and a saw, all of which are necessary to make all the detailed cuts. And we'll show you how that goes when we're done. So, the first job we have to do is prepare our dowel, which is our neck. Now I've marked off a spot here. This is where the rivet will go in for the string tree. You can see the marks here where the box will sit. That will fill up the bottom there. And then this is where our tuning machine head will be in. Now this part here that I've marked off, I've got to cut out. But first I want to drill through this hole for the machine head there. Now because the dowel can rotate, I've got it clamped down, and I'm using a 1/4 inch, well actually it's a 3/8 inch bit. And I'll widen that out just a little bit for it to make sure it fits. Well, so now we've cut that off, and you see it's a little rough, so I'm going to use my rasp to smooth that out. I also want to flatten the back side here, because that's where the machine head is going to attach, and I want a good flat surface there for it. So let's just spend a few minutes doing this. Okay, so now what I need to do is drill my little hole here for the pop rivet that's going to be our string tree. Now this is the pop rivet here. This is about 1/8 inch, so I've got a 1/8 inch drill bit that I'm going to drill into this with, and we'll put that rivet in for you. The point of the pop rivets is it's going to keep the string from catching and tearing the wood. So what I want to do is just bang this down into here, so it's there, and then use my rivet gun to pull out the center part. So now we're going to take our box, and we have to make a hole in either end for the dowel to fit through, because it's going to go through like this. And as far as the depth goes, we can see that the box is coming in at just a little over 1.5 inches, but I know that the lid comes down about a 1/4 inch, so I really want to do it from about here. So we're looking at for middle, we're looking at right about here. That'll give us enough room for the top. And as they say, measure twice, cut once. So this is right now showing at 3/4 inch from the bottom. And this one is at 3/4 inch from the bottom. So we are in the same place. So we've changed to our 1-inch spade bit, and I'm going to take the lid off, and we'll get the box set up, and we'll drill through it. Taking good care to start slowly. So now after the repair, as you can see the split here, after I repaired the box, re-glued it together, I've now installed the neck, and we've added 2 screws on the bottom. These are the drywall screws that go right through the neck to hold it in place so that it will not twist or turn. We've got the box basically ready to go. I've got to close it up, put the pickup in, I'm adding a little piezo pickup, which I have pre-wired here to a jack. And then I'm going to close this all up, and we'll add the bridge, and we'll be good to go. By the way, hey, Fred Eaglesmith! The bridge is going to be sitting approximately here on the box. So what I've got is a little piece of double-sided foam tape, and I'm going to attach it right to the neck here. And then I'll take the pickup, and I'm going to stick it right on the neck there, so that when I put this down on top, the pickup will be contacting the top right about where the bridge is. So in order to make the box look nicely closed, I've got these little finish washers and bolts that I'm going to install on the top. But this is a rather big screw, so what I've got is a 3/16 drill bit, which is just the right size to pre-drill the holes for this. So what we have to do now is install our machine head and our bridge, which will go about here, and string it up, and we're ready to go. But there's one other thing, and that's, I'm trying to make a decision on it because I don't want to destroy this lovely image, is that there's no way for the sound to get out of this box. So it needs to have, I mean, there's a little gaps all over because it's not a very well-made box, but I think what we want to do is put a couple of little sound holes here. And so what I've got are these nice grommets. Here we are. These nice little grommets like this. And I think I'm going to just put a couple of holes right here for the grommets. What do you think? So the hole is not quite big enough for the grommet to just slip in, which is good. You want it to be tight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my little round rasp. I'm just going to widen it just a little bit. Now this is where the box split apart. You can see the split there. I glued this, so I want to be careful. I think it'll be all right. And remember, you can't put it back on. That was something my grandfather taught me. When you're taking stuff off, you can't add it back. So you always want to be careful. Take your time. Take a little bit at a time and check. You know, I always wonder what he would think of me right now. He had this beautiful wood shop. All the tools you can imagine. He was a carpenter by trade, my grandfather. And I kind of grew up with him, but at the time, I wasn't all that interested in this stuff. I think now about how much I could have learned. Might be a very different person now. Almost. There we go. Nice sound hole cover, nice and pretty, tight, it won't ever come out. So now we're ready for the tuning peg, the nut, and the bridge, and we'll be ready to play this thing. So you might remember earlier that we spent all this time flattening this out here. That's because we need to have room for this screw to comfortably fit in and have a firm thing. So we drilled this out. I'm going to push this through. Whoops. Push this through so that it's tight up against there. And we've got a good spot for that screw to go in. Just straighten this out a little bit. And we'll attach our sleeve and washer, which will tighten this up. I'm just using a socket wrench here that is the right size. I'm not using the whole wrench, just the socket, just to finger tight this down. That's all it needs. So we've got our tuner ready here, nicely attached. All we need to do now is put our groove in here for our nut and install our bridge. So what we're going to do is about a centimeter down or a quarter of an inch down. I know that they maybe don't actually add up, but just a small amount is my point, right about here. I'm going to put in a little groove for this machine screw to sit. Now you don't need anything quite this big. I just didn't have a shorter one. You can use something much shorter if you want. You could cut this down. That's all up to you. It's really just what you have lying around. The key thing, I believe, with these kind of instruments is to use what's at hand. You're not trying to buy parts. I mean, I could have got out and bought some wood and made a good box that was really pretty. I could have done all this stuff. The only thing I bought for this project was the dowel because I didn't have an old broomstick. But you could use an old broomstick. Alright, so we've got everything all set up. I've got my string run through my holes there. I drilled an extra little hole here on the top, and that's just so that the head of the screw that is going to be my bridge sits down, and that means the screw will contact the top. In the spirit of leftovers, what I had is a 6-string from an electric guitar set. So this would be your low E string, and that's what I'm going to put on here. I imagine I'll tune this up to D. So there we are, my finished Diddley Bow.
If I had possession over Judgment Day, if I had possession over Judgment Day, woman I've been loving, Lord, wouldn't get the right to pray.
So here we have it. A nice simple diddly bow. It doesn't take very long to make. Now there's a couple things I want to change about this, but that's the beauty of a project like this. You can do that. For one, this was my idea for a bridge. It was nice and low, but you see how tight that is right there? That frets out on that box a lot. So I have to be careful when I play. I need that to be higher up. That's an easy thing to fix because, of course, we're not trying to get it close to here, so it's all going to be played with the slide. So we're going to raise that up quite a bit. I'll do that at another time. The other thing is my pickup that I installed and that you watch me install doesn't work. Now that means that there's some connection issue that's fallen apart and I got to take the whole thing apart and fix it, change that. I'm not going to worry about that because it's not really important to me, to be honest, that this plugs in and works great. It's really just a nice tool. And you'll see this is how the rivets hold that in. It doesn't tear anymore. There's a nice rivet holding it instead of tearing through the wood. So it's actually a really simple, easy thing for you to make. You can do it in an afternoon. So have at it, and we'll see you next time.